we think maybe once you can recognize yourself in a mirror, you're self-conscious and that's our line of consciousness. But really, if you're just talking about, do you experience the world? Do you feel what it's like to exist differently than, say, a computer which doesn't know what it feels like? Being able to differentiate those has been something that integrated information theory at least could have a solution for. Hi, my name is Pax, and I study the intersection between mathematics and consciousness. Integrated information theory of consciousness is the first mathematical framework for evaluating consciousness. My study of philosophy and my interest in philosophy was one of the really big pulls for me to do this research. There's still a lingering idea that consciousness, your conscious experience, is something that's kind of out of the reach of science, something that's maybe unstudyable, and a lot of people are kind of skeptical that you can actually study a phenomenon like consciousness because of those ancient roots in philosophy and in religion. And what really drew me to this lab was the fact that it kind of addresses one of the perennial 400-year-old problems of what is consciousness, where does it come from, how does mind relate to your conscious experience. In my research, I found the phi value of 3 different neurons in the mouse visual cortex. The conscious value, which is represented by phi, it's a scalar value, which means that you can find a consciousness value for a lot of different systems, which we would traditionally term to be conscious. That doesn't mean that 3 neurons in the mouse visual cortex experience pain or pleasure or any of the same conscious experience that we do, but it does mean that there's this system of information that gives a sense of what it is like to exist as those 3 neurons. And so that's a really novel and new way of looking at consciousness, where consciousness isn't something that's only privy to humans or a really smart dog per se, but it's kind of an element of a lot of different systems, different living systems that all interact together. I think that being able to come up with a mathematical framework is really important for being able to make testable hypotheses and to truly understand how consciousness relates to our biology and to ever get a truly coherent and fully developed theory of consciousness to do things like measure whether or not people are in a coma and experiencing the world in that coma. It's also important to have a mathematical theory so that you can know precisely whether someone under anesthesia is conscious or unconscious. And so those are just a few of the reasons why it's so important to have a really rigorous theory of consciousness. So as an undergrad, it's really exciting to be able to dive into these issues, and it's definitely a bit daunting. And you're kind of thrown in the deep end where there's people who have a lot of the smartest scientific minds working on this, and I kind of feel just like a sponge soaking up all of this information from all these different sources, and I kind of just do my best to learn and to grow and expand. And it's been a really cool experience to be a part of that in a way where I'm actually immersed in it and contributing to the work.